who's going to talk a bit more about the personal and about the local impacts of the aerospace industry. So I'd like to introduce Puti Moa, who's Rongomaiwahine and a local to the Māhia Peninsula, which of course Rocket Lab is using as a launch site. So Puti, I'm not seeing you on my screen. Yes, Puti, are you there?
Yep.
Yep. Can we get your picture up?
Yep. Oh. Tēnā tātou, ko Puti Moa taku ingoa, nō ka nei, ahau no te Māhia, ahau ki te taha ko tōku māma, no pētane me tuahui tōku pāpa. Yeah, we've had a lot of growing concerns over the time. Rocket Lab actually put the proposal on the table out here in Māhia, which is going back about 6 or 7 years ago. I just can't keep up with the time. There was a hui that was held because the Rocket Lab's sitting on Māori-owned land as the proposal that they're doing over in Ngaitahu area as well. When it was first put out, we held the hui. What had happened was it was asked if any of the whānau would support a new company coming out for economic growth. And it was suggested Rocket Lab. And at the time, they gave an example of the actual size of what the Rocket Lab would be sitting on, which was about 1 metre by 2 metres. So questions were asked about setting up Rocket Lab. The first one was military. That was one of the main concerns our people had, was would there be any military involved? Would NASA be involved? And the answer was no, because Peter Beck was the sole owner at the time. And then after that question, the other questions was access. Would whānau still have access to the lands? We were told yes. Also, employment. That's what was the carrot that was dangling, was offering employment and sponsorships to our community, which did happen at the beginning. It did happen at the beginning. We had our local pub who offered catering. They no longer do it. They've been replaced. We had one of our local cafes, which is right here on the peninsula itself. It's been renamed and relabelled Rocket Cafe. They no longer do a service for Rocket Lab. They did at the beginning, so they've been replaced. We also had whānau who had tickets to go there and do engineering, electricians, plumbers, whatever employment was available. They offered that to the local people. It was done. No longer they've been replaced. Also on the ocean, we had people do the security zone who are our own fishermen. They've been replaced. Everyone's being replaced with other people and smaller amounts of staff. And now we still have a security team that's on there. They're part of the Rocket Lab support system, I would say, and just to keep people out from that area. But 2 years ago, we had a protest, just a little protest out here at Māhia, just to put out the awareness, because, you know, everyone goes to sleep for a while, and then everyone's talking about, my Wi-Fi didn't go, it's playing up. So we all just brought it together to think that it's possibly an impact, it's getting affected from the Rocket Lab testing as well as the launching. And that has been happening. It still happens today. Our local shop, our local garage, which is about, our local garage is in another village just before you come onto the peninsula, and their FPOS drops every time there's a testing or Rocket Lab are launching. So they could test or they could launch. It affects the technology that we have out here. It did the same like when we had the cyclone, everyone got affected. The funny thing is, with the high technology that Rocket Lab is supposed to have, which they had told us all from the beginning before they even built here, was that we would actually get a faster Wi-Fi and better technology, but those things haven't happened for us as of yet. The issues that we still have here is that they have now 3 launch pads here, I think it is. Yeah, 3 launch pads, I think it is. So those are great concerns, eh? Like with the cyclone we just had, the impact of the cyclone on itself, as you come along Te Ureti, but we call it Te Ureti, but it's black speech to come along to the peninsula. It's just slipping, just continuous slipping. But the funny thing is, when the cyclone happened, the roads are getting fixed up a lot quicker, just where that slip is. We have a lot of slips all around the peninsula that were here before the cyclone, which don't get fixed up. However, some time ago, Rocket Lab issued so many millions of dollars from the government to help with the roading for over at that side, over at Tauapata Onanui, which is on the point of the peninsula. There's an island there. I was listening to a kōrero earlier about what's going on in South Island. We have the same here, right? We have a sanctuary on the island, which has the birds, the shore plover birds. They've been here for like almost 20-something years now. So we took that in consideration also as about what would that do? What would the launching of the rockets and its pollution, if there's any pollution, do to the birds over on the island, which is just across from where the launch pad is? Well, they said nothing would happen. We don't know what's happening because we're not allowed in there unless we're going for a hui, or we can go down there and visit our old the burial grounds. And it's just the typical way of doing it, though. You have to ask the trust, which is our whānau. Our whānau do have access now, and all they need to do is go through our whānau trust, and then the whānau trust go through the farm, and then allow whānau to go and have access. However, at the same time, there are our own commercial fishermen out here. When there are launches, they have a zoning time. It used to be 10-day window. I don't know, they may have shortened it now. But so what would happen is our fishermen couldn't go out there and get their quota. Our whānau couldn't go and get kai if we had a tangi because of these zonings. So we've been restricted of those things. Like if we were to have a funeral and someone was to go there and get buried and it was during the launch time, that launch thing will come before us. Well, Rocket Lab are ruling. Well, anyway, I'll get back to when we went to the actual block of land 2 years ago to do our protest. And because the road there is public all the way, it's public road right to the woolshed on the land. So when we went to get there, one of our whānau said, well, this is public road. The farmer turned up, farmer's wife turned up and says, oh, you can't come in here because this was the day of a launch, right? But we thought it would be cheeky and just go in there and do it. It worked, we did. So we went in. One of our smart whānau said, well, this is a public road. We can drive all the way to that woolshed and we can leave so many hours before you put your zone out. We're only going to be here temporarily. So this is, and then we had one shareholder with us. And we took a news reporter with us as well. And when our cousin went, the shareholder, when she asked the farmer if we could, we're going to come in. The first thing the farm manager's wife said is, well, you have to stop there first because I have to ring Rocket Lab. So we have to get permission. So realistically, in the real world, the permission has to come from Rocket Lab, not necessarily the trust, not necessarily our whānau trust. Those are major problems that we're having. Also we don't know whether they're doing any environmental testing. I've been hammering our Iwi Trust Board out here, our Rongomaiwahine Iwi Trust Board, to ask if they can actually ask Rocket Lab if, we could have a private person away from them to do these testing. After 3 or 4 years after me badgering at our Rongomaiwahine Iwi Trust Board, they've decided, yes, there's great concerns. It's coming from the people, not just myself alone. that they would go and make inquiries about this environmental testing. They got it. Rocket Lab have agreed. But I haven't seen anything from it yet. This is only 2 months ago. So we're still waiting on those, whatever's going to happen there. But our fishermen have been having troubles from the beginning. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know if anything is wrong with our kaimoana out there. Some of the whānau has said they've found discoloured kaimoana, but we don't know where it's coming from. So nothing's really out there for our people, for anyone actually, not even for the public. The jobs that were offered, they no longer exist. There's no more jobs offered to our people, to the local community. And if our people wanted to sponsor or anyone, you have to carry their logo. We have a local school bus. I wish I was on the BAT at the time with the school. And the bus was offered by Rocket Lab with their big brand on it. And I live where the bus goes, and my mokopuna are not allowed on it. I won't allow them to. But we need some serious help for us out here, because everything's too secret squirrel, even between our Iwi Trust Board and the trustees of the land at Taupata Onanui. There's a lot of, I heard someone talking about like there's secret meetings, eh? There's possibly secret meetings going on. Well, I have heard of one, but I'm not really positively sure if it's real. 2 weeks ago, I came back from Auckland and I was up there. I went up to have a look and, I couldn't get in. There's a whole heap of cars that were scooting past us, and they were Gisborne District Council. The dog is gone. Name's on there. Sorry, whānau. And the Gisborne District Council had gone past there. They'd gone past us. There was about 5 cars. But before then, a couple of days before that, I had spoken to one of the Gisborne District councillors, and I asked her, because she told me she was coming out here. I said to her, "What are you doing, your Gisborne District Council? What are you doing coming into our area?" She said, "We're going out to Rocket Lab." I said, "What are you going out there for? It's not your business." And she said, "Well, give me some questions I can ask them." So my main one was the environment impact, because it affects all of us. So I'm not sure if she actually asked. But Gisborne District Council, all the council have been involved since the very, very first hui they held out here. They had a big, huge hui, and all the top knots all came to it. The weirdest thing, whānau and the locals weren't invited. The owners went aware, only some were picked, selected, so that's where that went. There's really no division amongst the people out here. The division's really just with maybe a little handful that support Rocket Lab, because they believe in growth and economical growth, and I do too, but not if it's going to affect the whenua and others' lives. Maybe not be here, but overseas, like with the military. And we all know that they're sending military payloads. They've admitted it now. It's out. Everyone knows. So what we're looking for out here is maybe we need to educate our people a lot more on the on what effects it's really having, because we are being affected. It's just that it's not seen. You know, just the little technology stuff and whatever else they're doing. What they've been doing is looking for other spaces as well out here for storage. I don't understand it when they've got all the farmland out there that they occupy. So they're looking for storage to store what? I don't know. They went and seen a family member earlier, last year sometime, to go and see if that person would actually have them go and store some stuff in his double garage. He said yes, he didn't mind. He said they could have one part, and then they said they wanted the whole part, and if they could actually bring something over. He told them no, because now they're getting bigger. They got a lot of pull here, eh? Just said we don't know it. They've got the pull with the council and the government. We're looking at getting us a lawyer to look deeper into the resource consent. Time's been catching up with us. It's just flown past us and we hadn't been doing any of it. It's only a small group of us that talk with each other, then we share it to all the rest of the shareholders and our owners, with our owners and the whānau that live here, and some that don't live here. What I found though is like when we give our kōrero to the media, what I'm finding is that when we give our kōrero to the media, it gets a little bit twisted, and then Rocket Lab would come in and answer with their reply. So has council. They've also given a response too. Rocket Lab were the first people, that company ever out here, that have had the quickest resource consent. So those are things too that council should be accountable for. When anyone else wants to build a home, it's going to take you a long time to get your resource consent, and a lot of money. It's just a lot of unfairness, eh?
Kia ora, Puti.
Kia ora.
Yeah. I think there's so many issues that you've highlighted there, so many experiences that mana whenua have been having, obviously not just around the aerospace industry, but development of all sorts across Aotearoa, where people are effectively being dispossessed of their lands a second time around.
Yeah.
In all of this, with great promises of employment, of education and development that, if they ever materialize, don't materialize for very long. I just wondered if you could confirm, I was under the impression that effectively the road out to the launch site was awarded a $6 million provincial growth fund funding to pave the road out for the rockets to cruise out on. And that was kind of at the expense of other roading projects and other things that needed fixing in the region. Is that correct?
That's correct. Because like I said, we've had slips here long before the cyclone. And we've got a real big one. It's a one lane. You nearly drive on a railway track. So Rocket Lab got all that funding just for a strip of road, and this road's still sitting like that. And now we've got more slips. But I tell you what, they're fixing them really quickly, eh? Because there's another launch coming up very soon.
Kia ora, Puti.